Welcome back, everybody. So today we're going to start the 4L80E swap from my ZL1, and I'm going to start the swap from the 6-speed TKO 6060 over to my 4L80E. So it's going to be pretty involved. As of right now, I've already removed the transmission, removed the obviously the drive shaft, exhaust, all that stuff. Went and removed the clutch and the flywheel. So that's all done. I also removed the clutch pedal itself. It was just a matter of 2 bolts to the firewall, 2 bolts up to the back of the dash frame, and then pulled that all out. So the clutch pedal's gone. Closed off the line from the brake reservoir over to the clutch master cylinder, because it's a shared reservoir in the Camaros between the brake reservoir and the clutch reservoir. It's the same one. So that's all taken care of. So today I'm going to start by probably bolting on my new flex plate from Circle D that I have, and also the 4L80E transmission disassembly, because I'm going to put together a Jake Stage 5 kit for it. So that will be most of today. Just not in a rush to do this project, so I'm just taking my time right now, and just while I have time, an hour here and there, just tear it apart and go through it. Make sure if there's anything else that I need to order, that I go ahead and do it. So first thing, I guess I'll show you the converter that I chose and the flex plate, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here is my order from Circle D. First thing is the flex plate. Now the flex plate is a billet flex plate. Let's see if I can open this up. There she is. It's SFI rated, 29.2, Circle D Specialties. And this one is for the 8-bolt LSA crank. So I won't need a hub adapter or anything like that. Just bolt her on, should be good to go. What else do we get in the order? Well, we get mostly invoice, SFI certification for the flex plate, some stickers, which I love, Circle D Specialties pen, beer cozy for football Sunday, awesome. Instructions, QR code for Circle D for installation tips, torque converter installation tips, that's good to have. Also, ARP bolts, these are for the torque converter themselves, comes with shims. So that'll be flex plate to torque converter bolts. And then I have the crankshaft bolts, 8 crankshaft bolts for my LSA crank as well. So that's awesome. And then the crown jewel. Let's see if I can get her out of here. Beauty. So what we have here is a triple disc diode, 258 millimeter flanged billet hub torque converter. So it's a 4,000 stall, just a really nice piece. It's a little more money going flanged, not a heck of a lot, but I wanted the ability to be able to change the stator out, restall the converter if I need to, or to service it, take it apart, service it. Talking to some of the guys I race with, they said it's going to be needed in the long run, so definitely worth the money to go with a flanged converter if you're getting a custom converter. Triple disc, so I'll be able to lock it up under wide open throttle. I don't plan on running a transmission tranny brake for now, so if I do have to go tranny brake, I've heard issues of some guys running triple disc and the transmission brake having issues, but there is workarounds for that. But for now, I'm just going to be going off the foot brake anyhow, so this should be exactly what I need. So yeah, that's the torque converter and the flex plate. So that's the whole order. And I guess next step is I'm going to bolt on that flex plate onto the crank and then start tearing down the 4L ADE. So to get the crankshaft bolts ready to go, got to put some ARP lube underneath the head of each of these as per the instructions on ARP. And then you have to use some blue medium Loctite on the actual threads themselves. And then they need to be torqued in the proper pattern, kind of crisscross, to 85 foot-pounds. So that's what I'll do here. I'll just finish with the multi lube and put some blue medium strength Loctite. They call for Loctite 242, but 243 is the same thing. It's just the upgraded Loctite formula. So yeah, do that, and then I'll get into the car and bolt her up. Okay, we're back. So I have the 4L ADE on the stand. Got the flex plate all bolted up in the car. So first thing I'm gonna do is pull the tail shaft, pull the O-ring off the output shaft, pull my pan, take my wiring harness off, remove my valve body, and then I'm going to remove the front pump and then go from there. So the valve body is out, reverse servo band is out. Just looking at the case, which is pretty common, you can see some deformation of the case from where the check balls are sitting all over the place. Not crazy, and it doesn't really affect much, but I'm gonna clean that all up, and I'm not putting steel check balls back in. I have some Sonex Teflon check balls to go back in so it quits beating the hell out of the case, but that shouldn't affect anything. So yeah, next thing is going to be taking off the seal, taking off the front pump seal, removing the pump, and not prying on the pump, and using a puller, because you can crack a passage pretty easy by putting a screwdriver in there and popping it and trying to push that pump off. So that'll be next. So when I pulled the pump, the input shaft and planetaries for the overdrive came out together, so no big deal. Everything looks fine. This is all the seals are going to be replaced anyhow. So next step is going to be removing the fourth pack bolt. I'm going to remove that so I can take the fourth clutches out. And I'm also going to remove the shifter linkage. So I'm going to pull that apart next. And then the bolt for fourth pack, and then fourth gear clutches. So now the fourth clutch basket's out, so I'm going to go ahead and lift the forward clutch assembly out, the drum, and then the direct clutch out, the reverse band, the brake band will come out of the case end, and then intermediate snap ring and intermediate clutches. And then I'm going to have to remove the center support bolt after that. The next thing I'm going to do is remove the intermediate snap ring and clutch pack from the case, and then I'm going to take out the center support bolt. Once the center support bolt's out, I'm going to take the center support out completely with all the thrust washers, obviously, and then the low reverse band from the case with the snap ring. So the gear train is completely out of the transmission. It's all laid down on the bench here. As order of everything came out, and it'll be ready for the rebuild. Obviously, gonna put a Jake Stage 5 kit in. So it's gonna be billet, input shaft, intermediate shaft. So it'll all be replaced. Super drum, all new clutches, and then the recalibration kit for the valve body. So it's gonna all be rebuilt, new clutches. The clutches actually looked pretty damn good. Wasn't a lot of hot spots. The wavering doesn't look the best, but yeah, for unknown mileage, there's nothing crazy that I see. So we'll have a closer look as I rebuild it, but that's it for the case. So now I have a nice light case that I'm gonna clean up and use for mock-up. I'll put a pan on it so I don't damage anything, and then be able to start using it for mock-up. Transmission's all cleaned up. I went and took a pick, cleaned up any sharp edges where any of the check balls were. Like I said, that's just cosmetic. It's not gonna hurt anything. I'm not putting those metal check balls back in. Just cleaned up the gasket surface, cleaned up the case. Everything's nice and clean. I had an old harness plug, the male end, and I snipped it off and put it in. And I also have an old plug from a different transmission for 4L80E. So this way I'll be able to see how much room I'm gonna need for the plug to the frame on the car. So I'm going to put on the oil pan, and then it'll be ready to use to kind of mock up in the car. Slight deviation from the plans. I am pulling the Supercharger off. I sold it, and I am going to be upgrading to a different unit. So I'm going to strip it all apart and get it ready for the buyer. So here is the stock Magnuson 2650 for the LSA. Throttle up body adapter. This is a 120 to 95. So instead of doing a whole bunch of different spacers that you can get from Magnuson, which cost an arm and a leg, I'm going to port this out for the 103. And then down the road, if I ever want to go to 112, I'll get an adapter like this for a 112 throttle body. So right now I etched the outline to clear the throttle body, my K-Tech 103, and I'll start porting that out so it clears the throttle blade when the throttle blade is opening. Just finished porting the stock Magnuson throttle body that's fitted for 95. I ported it out to fit my K-Tech 103 instead of using all those expensive adapters for no reason, and then having this piece just sitting there. And the fact the original snout for the Magnuson also has a nice port and threaded hole for the charger inlet pressure sensor, so that's why I did it as well. So she's all done. I will have to silicone this just like I did on my Kong ported LSA snout. That's not a big deal, so I'm going to do that, bolt her on the blower, and then set that aside for now. So here you can see the 103 is bolted up to the throttle body. Everything's torqued down. Nice transition into the case. No issues, ready to go. So just an update on kind of what's going on. I have the transmission bolted up to the back of the engine. Flex plate I put in earlier. So the transmission is just an empty case right now. I gutted it because I'm going to be rebuilding it. But when I originally went to put it up, on the cross member, it was way out, but I have adjustable motor mounts from BMR, polyurethane adjustable motor mounts, and a new energy suspension mount here. So I was able to just push it over, just plopped into place, no problem. As you can see, there's the center casting of the transmission. There's the center of my tunnel. It's almost dead straight. I'll send a plumb bob down just to double check everything. Everything seems to be lining up really nice. the bolt holes in the cross member. Everything should line up. I got to get some bolts long enough to go through here into the transmission bushing. That's energy suspension bushing, and the cross member. This is an aftermarket cross member. It fit up perfectly. I bought this second hand from a guy that previously had a 4L80 in his 5th gen. So I can't remember who made it. Maybe energy suspension as well. I can't, off the top of my mind, remember who built it. Anyhow, good news, because when I put the transmission in the first time, it was shifted way over to the right. So I couldn't even get the pan even close. So by loosening the mounts, adjustable mounts, it'd probably be much harder with stock mounts, but with adjustable mounts, I was able to move it over. So we're nice in line. So all I have to do is I will have to clearance this frame rail, part of the, well, it's not really a frame rail, but part of the tunnel for the plug. So I'm gonna have to come up with a plan with that, either cut a hole with a hole saw. I've seen some guys online do that, or I'll box it in, or some guys just beat it with a hammer. I haven't really decided the best way to do that, what's gonna be the cleanest and the safest as far as rigidity. I don't want to damage the car. Don't want to wreck anything and make it unable to go back to a manual car if I want. I want a kind of a bolt-in thing. So, but yeah, progress. The 4L80E is up in the tunnel. So I'll just come up with a plan to get some clearance room on the left-hand side of that tunnel there for that plug. Update on the transmission. I got it fitted in pretty good. So there's 3 layers of steel here, 2 on the unibody and then 1 in the actual floorboard. So what I did is I cut the outer layer off, and then was able to kind of massage the floor a bit enough to clear the connector. It's not pretty, but I'll clean that up and throw some primer on it, so anything that I scuffed up with the buffing wheel doesn't rust. And on the other side it clears. So transmission is fitted to the tunnel. So yeah, next thing is going to be trying to figure out routing of the cooler lines, and I got the 90s in there. Kind of see them. So those are clearing as well. Lots of room on those. So I'll swivel them to whatever direction I need. So those are good too. Those are dash 6A fittings. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Next thing will be probably taking the transmission out and starting the build of the actual transmission itself. So that'll be next. So I had the transmission in, just the empty case, got everything kind of lined up, adjusted my motor mounts, they're adjustable, got everything looking good. Clearance the floor a little bit, just on the frame rail. Had to do a little bit of slight massaging for the plug for the 4L80 for the computer. So that's all done. I'll kind of show that later on once I got it all cleaned up and looking good. Next thing is going to be building the actual 4L80E. I have all my parts, my pump. I'm going to be doing line and lube mod and a couple different performance mods to the transmission, just to, as well as installing the Jake's Stage 5 kit in the transmission itself. So I'm just going to end the video here, and yeah, it's probably getting long enough. So that's where I'm at. Next video is going to be actually building the transmission and doing the performance mods, as well as adding the Jake Stage 5 kit to the 4L80E. So hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks, and thanks for watching, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.